Batman, Superman, World's Finest, 2024 annual. Different creators, because it's like 4 different stories throughout, which is probably the first big problem for me, is that I was hoping, maybe it'll be a standalone, or maybe it'll be an offshoot from Wade, something that ties into the main stuff. He does the first story with Cullen Bunn, so he's a co-writer on one of them, which is not as much as I would like, but hey. But this is a story of Mixapitalik, Batmite, and all the other various mites that either existed and Wade's pulling them from somewhere, or perhaps some of them are new creations here. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm willing to say that they're new creations, because the way that they're acting, it definitely feels like they're more like Batmite than they are Mixapitalik, right?
Sure, yeah.
So...
yeah, there's one mite for both Green Lantern and Green Arrow, because...
they call him Green Mite, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
And they tell him to pick a lane.
I did enjoy everyone making fun of Hawkman's backstory. They're like, hey, I dare you to tell me your origin story. I dare you. That was pretty funny, I'll admit. I will say, though, like, this... it felt like just a lot of, like, comedy until eventually there's actually something that shows up that starts killing them all. But that happens quite late in the story. Where we get all the villain mites show up. You get Joker mites, Sinestro mite, so on, so on. But they're being led by some evil voice. We don't get to see who it is. They're in a cloak.
They're in a cloak. Their dialogue is in black bubbles with red font, which is always somebody like Darkseid. So I'm not saying this is Darkseid, but it's
Darkseid mate. Is that how you're getting at?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's very reminiscent of that. And I know that Wade, and I know he only co-wrote this, Wade doesn't do stuff by accident like that. You know what I mean? So whatever this threat is, it's something of Darkseid's level.
It says to be continued in issue 25 of World's Finest, which is fine. And I've got a funny feeling that when we get to the continuation of this entire story is going to feel like something that basically will get explained in a sentence, and that would have been fine if you'd never read this. Like, it's probably just going to be, this evil force killed most of the mites in the fifth dimension, and that'll be mentioned probably to sell how threatening they are. But this actual story of it happening is mostly just the mites having comedy dialogue for 8 pages before.
And Mixapitalik trying to tell them stuff, but because they're a different kind of imp than him, that they're not taking anything serious. He gets finally fed up. He's like, I try to tell you guys, and then he gets out of there. I think him and Batmite.
So the two ones that are actually pre-established that we know tend to be around are the ones that survive, which is not so. So it tells me that obviously we're getting these two in World's Finest, but I feel like this is going to be like barely a footnote as to like the just explaining that this threat's coming, and that's it, which is fine. Like, but when I got to the end of this, I felt like, okay, that was mostly just comedy. I didn't feel like it was that substantial, but okay, you've set up this villain for this future story, and I thought, as long as now we can get into some more proper stories after this, I'll be happy. And I'm not saying I disliked all the ones after this, but this was the only one that felt like it was actually that relevant to the main book. The rest of them,
the last one feels like it ties into this one, but other than that,
because
there's nothing.
The second story is a Metamorpho story, and it basically follows on from whatever issue it was where that story wrapped up, where they were dealing with Stag and Metamorpho, where Stag wants to take Metamorpho to this volcano in Markovia to get this fancy relic that he wants.
Yeah, the Hammer of Vulcan, which is a god. He's the Roman god of creation. He's like, who is he like? Hephaestus and stuff. So, they're going to send Metamorpho because of his powers. Yeah,
he can survive in there, unlike anyone else. This is a Dennis Culver story.
So, I didn't realize this wasn't Wade, right? I thought all of these were going to be Wade, doing a thing. And I was like, wow.
Oh, no, he's done. He's done. He was finished after that co-writing the first story.
Yeah. But did not realize this. So, as I'm reading this, I'm going, man, this dialogue's rough. This is not very Wade-like. And then when I got to the credit page, I was like, oh, it's because this is Dennis Culver. It's not Wade at all.
To be fair, though, his Doom Patrol book, I thought, had good dialogue. I thought
I thought so too.
I wonder if this is because he has to fit it into like 10 pages or whatever it is, that he's struggling to condense it all in.
Yeah, that's what I was having a hard time with. Is like, I like Dennis Culver. Why is this not? This sounds, and then yeah, it's very truncated. It's very, you know, you just tell like the story's fine, but you can tell he wasn't like, felt like the Doom Patrol book was like not like a dream project, but something he was itching to write. And this is just kind of like, you know, sure, I'll write a Metamorpho backup story.
Yeah, he sets up the backstory of Metamorpho's dad and his relationship with his dad. So obviously his dad's going to show up. That's not like surprising anyone. I thought you might enjoy though that Rex used to be dressed like what's his face, O'Connor from The Mummy. Like, seeing that flashback panel, he looks just like him. I was thinking Nathan Drake at first, but the scarf thing that he's wearing is actually more like Rick O'Connell. Yep.
That, and then his dad is definitely not an Indiana Jones ripoff named Montana Mason. You know, which in a bubble, I would love this. I just, you know, again, the dialogue was kind of off and everything was rushed. Like, I felt like if this was like a World's Finest fill-in issue where we had Culver and everybody and we got an issue to tell the story, I think it still would have been fine. It was just everything was rushed.
Yeah, I mean, I like the characters involved, and I like the overall vibe of what it does. The implication at the end that when he finds his dad in this big kind of like super bulky like diving suit to protect him from the elements, he lets his dad seemingly, you know, it's implied that he lets his dad take the artifact because he doesn't want, you know, rich asshole Simon Stagg to have it.
So the subtext of this is that he wanted to follow in his dad's footsteps until he realized he could make money because his dad was just doing it for science, right? Which also his dad's kind of drawn like Sean Connery in Last Crusade, so that was funny as well.
Yeah, his dad basically just thinks that belongs in a museum.
Yeah, and so and Rex is like, no, we can get paid, and I'm tired of living poor when we can get paid, and so that's the crux of their argument. So when he gets down there and this is like, you know, this is gonna go where it belongs, and Metamorpho is just like, yeah, okay, and we don't know exactly what he does, but by the time he gets back with Stagg, he's like, oh yeah, I got down there, the lava had already eaten the hammer, and he lets his dad get away and to Stagg's chagrin.
Yeah, it's he clearly lies about it, and Stagg's pissed and just thinks he's a failure again because he's always failing me, that stupid Metamorpho. Whereas Sapphire's defends him. I mean, it's a fine little thing. It does kind of feel like it might be setting up something for a future book because it feels like, why are you establishing this relationship with his father if we're not going to like be telling more of the story somewhere? So I don't know if Culver's getting a Metamorpho or a Fantastics book. Well, not Fantastic, a Terrifics. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah,
I was crossing the streams with what it's based on, which is Fantastic Four.
Big time work.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's perfectly fine. But, you know, I was sort of feeling like, wait, are these all going to be like anthology stories? And, you know, sure enough, we get to the story after this, and it's a tie-in to World's Finest Teen Titans. And I was like, okay, that's cool. We get a you know, a Bumblebee story from Teen Titans, but it's Stephanie Williams writing with Rusty Campe on art, and I'm like, okay, so Wade's not doing any of these. And it's not to say that like, I'm not saying that there can't be other writers in here that I wouldn't be excited to see. But, you know, I feel like Stephanie Williams is one of these writers who I see pop up in these types of anthology issues, and I don't know if I've ever actually read like a full comic from her that I really like.
And yeah, and there's nothing. So she also did the Nubia book, right, and some Wonder Woman, and that. So that's where I'm familiar with her. And she's not a bad writer. I just feel like these projects that I end up reading from them, they're just they never resonate with me. And this ended up being a very by the numbers Bumblebee origin kind of book or a story, not even a book. And I just kind of, I've seen all these beats before. And I'm just kind of like, okay. So this is one I kind of just skimmed and just kind of got by the art. Because not that there's anything wrong with Bumblebee. I don't necessarily, you know, I would have appreciated her and her boyfriend, the music guy, you know, continuing from Teen Titans versus an origin for her.
I mean, I don't mind it being a solo Bumblebee story. I just don't think the story itself is that captivating. It's basically her breaking into a medical company to prove that they're making bad prosthetics and things like that. She wants to get proof so that her friend who does like reporter stuff will actually report on it. Yeah. So it's basically just her sneaking in with some like self-made doohickeys and doing this, and it's just not that overall that interesting. I think it's just a bit too straightforward, all things considered.
Also, anytime I see people crawling through vents, knowing that vents are meant to hold air, not people, that'll still never not make me laugh. Because
I mean, this is hardly the first or last time you're going to see that. Like,
it just makes me laugh.
Yeah. The final story is a Challengers of the Unknown story with Christopher Cantwell writing with Jorge Fornes on art. So the art is the best. This is the best art in the book.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Challengers of the Unknown by Fornes. Yes.
Yeah, I did find it a little tough to follow what the hell was going on in this story, though. If I'm being completely honest, I get that they go into some kind of other dimension through a door. And it seems like one of them, Jane specifically, it seems like she is left behind and dies. But then, would you believe it? She just kind of like walks back out at the end.
So, as I read this, right, so they're talking about the Challenger of the Unknown, and their origin is they all four of them survive a plane crash, which gives them this idea that they are living life on life is ticking by, and they're living life on a clock. And so what they have to do is they're going to try to extend their life by doing good deeds. And this leads them into doing, superhero-y action adventure-y stuff. And so here they end up, the Doc character ends up, as I took this, getting in touch with the fifth dimension, right? Which when we hear about Mxyzptlk in the fifth dimension, we can't perceive it because our brains aren't advanced enough. And so when Doc's in there trying to engage with it, ends up getting lost to it. It looks like it's attacking him. So the rest of the challengers go in there and they all get, wonky, right? As it is. Like we see the brains are all floating. Nothing's making sense and stuff until Jane goes in there and is able to, get everything focused to where if I believe she ends up going back and seeing their, by traveling through the fifth dimension, she sees their origin and has a new appreciation for what they went through.
Well, I don't know if I got that, but she does mention that she landed on like the mountain that they landed their plane on. That's right. That's what she says. That's where she woke up. So something put her there. Yeah. I was very surprised that this just said end at the end because I thought this was going to say to be continued in something because it felt like it was setting up a mystery that I like. Well, where are we going with this?
It felt like the thing that was attacking the Doc was the same thing that had attacked the imps, right? It was like this weird squid thing, with tentacles and,
I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't remember a squid thing with tentacles in that first story.
It was at the end of the first story. It was definitely there with the villain imps.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because when you said earlier that you think the last story tied into the first one, I was like, what are you talking about? I don't remember any tie-ins.
So go to that page where it says to be continued. There is that. It kind of looks like Starro. Is this supposed to be a Starro-mite?
I don't know. I'm going there.
So I shouldn't say squid, right? But it's definitely something.
Wait, are you talking about the clothes that are floating?
It's right above the clothes. It's got the eye with the pink with the 5 tentacles. So it looks more like a Starro than a squid.
Yeah, that's just clothes. What are you talking about?
No way, that's an eye, bro. Look right below Little Lobo and to the right of Little Cheetah.
I mean, I see it, but I legitimately didn't think that was a living thing. I thought that looked like someone's shirt floating after they'd killed them.
Yeah, no, I think it's supposed to be a creature of some kind. And now I'm going to go to the challengers and see. I
say shirt. What I really mean is more like a full bodysuit because it's got enough parts coming off of it.
And then see, there's when they get attacked, right? And they're in what looks like the fifth dimension, and you can't make sense of anything. There's like tentacle things attacking them. So I just assumed those are one and the same thing. And that's why I thought it was a fifth dimensional thing. But maybe this is just a one and done type story, and it was just something from the void, getting at the challengers, I just wanted them to connect. So, that Lil Starro thing, I thought was maybe...
Even if I'm on board, like, and I agree, maybe it's not just clothes like I think it is, but I still don't see it linking up with what these tentacles are in the final story. They don't look anything similar to me, other than the fact that they're both red.
Yeah, well, that's all that I was going off of, because I really wanted them to connect.
I think you're making connections here that are not there to be made.
True. I'm not going to disagree.
I wasn't getting that from that. I literally just like at a glance thought that was the Flash's, like the Flashmite's outfit. It was just floating in the air.
Yeah, no. Maybe it's Little Starro. I don't know, but it looks like a starfish.
Look at the way the top two parts are like coming down though. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's drawn to be a creature.
But why is there an eye on it?
I just thought it was on the design, but I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, this is the worst kind of annual.
As a whole reading experience, despite any minor positives I'll say about any individual stories, I hated reading this.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge to get through. However, the Fornes art in the last I was not expecting. So when I got there and I saw Fornes, I was like, oh, thank God. Well, there's some positive here.
The Fornes art is great, but it's just, it's this real mixed bag. And by the end of it, I'm just like, oh my God, can I? Like, I remember getting to the end of the third story and be like, oh God, I think I'm done. Oh no, there's one more.
Yep.
So it's the sort of thing where if this hadn't been a week 5 and we had 7, 8 other books, I would have just called it. I'd be like, I don't have to read this. But I was like, we don't have that many books this week. Okay, fine.
Yep.
So not my preferred type of annual, sadly. What are you giving World's Finest annual?
I'm gonna give this a 6.
I'm at 5. I'm gonna right down the middle.
There you go.
There's positives in there, but fundamentally, I just did not enjoy it.
Kind of want Dennis Culver now on Challenger of the Unknown, right? After what he did with the Doom Patrol.
Yeah. To be clear, he did not write the Challenger story in this book.
No, that was Christopher Cantwell, and I think I've read a couple things by Cantwell. They've been like one-offs, but kind of incomprehensible, and I think that was the point. But I feel like Culver could tie everything back together.
He's got a really kind of cynical, jaded attitude. I mean, if he really wants to motivate himself, he should be calling himself Christopher Canwell.
Yes. Ta-dun.